Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So first off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my YouTube members, Jordan Gallant. Thanks for your support. Now in today's video, we're going to go over Nona as a 5-star, and of course I'll do a little bit of gameplay and let you know what I think about her. But the most important question of all is
she hot or not?
Oh yeah, she's hot. Look at her innocent look, but then her tattoo on her left leg, definitely hot. Anyways, Nona's VC is still only at level 2. We don't have access to the level 3 one, so doesn't really do too much at this point. 20% type plus add 1 signal orb, which I'll show you how that functions with her moves. So first of all, I apologize for the pronunciation. The Pregira is one of her defensive moves. It heals all party members for 25%. It consumes all signal, and when consuming 3 of the signal, which is basically 3 stacks, max HP for 2,000 for 5 turns for your entire party, which is very, very nice. Note that it also can counter heal and at the end of a turn. So not only does it counter heal every hit, it also heals at the end of turn for 3 turns, which also restores statuses. Very similar to singing effect from Oratorio, and you can stack that of course. Note that her DPS move is Sanzoni, Shade type Pierce AoE XL, also consumes all signal and grants hold ground to the user when consuming all 3, and also stacks 4 Atacante stacks. So basically this is very similar in mechanics to Miltia, where you can stack multiple stacks, and at the end of each turn it kind of does a super kind of a laser end of turn attack. But note that it also counters as well, and so I'll demonstrate that as well. Now, how do you get all those signal stacks? You will use Cartella Paradiso, which is basically a preemptive give barrier that reduces damage by all party members by 50% for 1 hit only. Only lasts 1 turn as well. And type attack 30% for 1 move, and it gains 1 stack. So you do this for 3 turns or 3 moves, and then you can activate one of either the Pregera or the Sanzone. Also, when Lunatic is deployed, you get a better debuff and shielding. Now, she does have some other moves. This is a healing and defensive move. Kore Karo, regen large, physical and type res up 30, which is actually not bad at all for a free unit. And finally, she does have a secondary element, which is water. Not really much to say because really the DPS on those are relatively low. That being said, take a look at her board, and keep in mind that since she is technically a water or shade pierce that has lunatic abilities, you can still slot her into either a pierce team or a water team, or, well, if Shade Zone ever comes out, hopefully a shade team. In terms of her Grafta, pretty standard setup, all panes with the standard enemy numbers, rows with thorns, as well as bullseye. So let's take her out for a spin. If you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I also do have a Patreon account for those who want to support me this way. So of course, being that she does have some water DPS, you can just use one of them to kind of clear off all weaker mobs. Really not much use in the end game, because honestly, if you're going for water DPS, you can use water magic or real water pierce, or even the newest unit Alter, his Meta, which can do water / type attacks. And so in general, how you're going to do it is stack 3 of those barrier shields, which is the Cartella Paradiso, which will stack 3 of the signals, and then you can choose either to go offense, which is the Sanzone, which you'll see more commonly, or go the Pregera, which is the defensive one, and you can also stack that with not only defensive moves like Pizzica, also she does have that regen plus type and physical shield. So in the first example, we're going to show you how we can do a 1-turn AF, which is also a 1-turn kill. These traditionally have been used by high-level DPS such as end-of-turn Victors or Miltias or so on and so forth. But in this case, we can use Nona now to kind of do a 1-turn kill against my true waifu's true manifest. So obviously we're enabled with this using Ieya's Yukino, which is a great pierce setter. At the end of AF, we not only stacked her shield, which obviously gives us a barrier against 5,000. Remember that we also have the shield from stacking those barriers with Nona. And so as long as you keep the damage under 5k, and we do have power down from, demonic thrust from Suzette, we take 0 damage all the way through. And remember that she does have a counter attack, which counters each hit applied to her, as well as an end of turn attack. And so what you saw is, you saw her counter attack at each HP stopper, and finally the end of turn attack. Note that the end of turn attack still has a full modifier, but for some reason, as you did more counter attacks, it did a little bit less damage. So not really sure how that works, but that was for you to see. Now, obviously we saw the offense portion. How about the defense? We're going to play around with a unit that I have not reviewed yet. I do apologize for not getting to it. She is an older unit, AS Nagi, and we're going to use Sea of Stars stance in order to kind of demonstrate the defensive nature of using Nona. Keep in mind that ES Nagi's VC does give physical resistance by 40% to your entire party, and you also have Sea of Stars zones, which I believe may reduce damage by oncoming attacks, although I can't be too sure about that. That being said, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to stack a couple of stacks of the Seg now, and in this case, instead of doing 3 stacks because I know the fight itself, we're actually only going to stack 2 stacks. So in the first part of the fight, we're obviously using Oratorio to keep damage mitigated. We also still have the VC affected by ES Nagi. Note that after that 2 stacks, I did cast the Prigara, which consumed only 2, not that it's a full 3 stacks of Signal, but even at that point, we're counter healing everything, and remember it counter heals both physical and magical attacks, and has an end of turn heal as well, which is almost overkill in a sense, but you know what? You can't have too much defense at this point. After which, we're just going to stall strat this and let Suzette take care of herself by just blasting everything, because in Sea of Stars stance, your type attacks are increased by 100%, which is very, very nice. And don't forget that in Sea of stance full AF, you can AF bar, do a full AF, or you can keep it alive and stall strat it through. ES Nagi does have Abnoth, which does give guaranteed triple debuff, power, int, and speed. Mind you, it is only 25%, which is kind of mid at this point, but you can use the proficiency drain Grasta or if you really want to. And like I said, we're really only demonstrating the counter heal and defensive abilities of Nona. Now, as I was talking, I did cast her type and physical res shield as well, which also gives a regen, so just in case you're not having enough healing, this is great. Obviously, tougher fights may require more and more defense, but in this case, the fact that you can get Nona as a 5-star even relatively early in the game, provided you've gone through all the different chapters of the Apocrypha, I mean, she does have some great offensive and defensive capabilities. Also, we don't have that many Shade DPS anyways. I mean, Thilily, of course, Milsha, among some others, Alter Iska, so on and so forth. But that being said, hey, more Shade users, and especially for a free strat, is great. We can add that to units like, obviously, Harley and things like that. Okay, so moving on from having fun with some Sea of Star stance, we're going to fight again the twins. However, this is a very different fight in that instead of leaving us at 1 HP or 5 HP all the way through the fight, we're going to try to finish this fight without literally taking a single hit in terms of damage. We're going to take 0 damage all the way. We're going to finish off this fight with a full HP bar, which isn't very common, to be honest. Now, note that we are doing a first turn AF. One thing about this is that unlike using Suzette in the 3rd slot, we are using Milsha, and going to demonstrate using 2 Lunatic end of turn Shade attacks, both of which are Pierce, to do a ton of damage and finish off the twins with 4 hits back to back to back to back in the 2nd turn. We also did the preemptive shield from ASU Kino that reduces all damage 5,000 or less to 0, and of course, since this does 99% HP damage and we have less than 5,000 HP, we're not going to take any damage at all. Anyways, as I was saying, using Suzette over Milsha, I found that I got more rounds of AF in, and I do believe part of it is due to the animation speed of some of the attacks. So for more advanced strats, you'll notice that some units, their moves take more time to kind of finish off before their bar recharges so they can add more hits to the AF. And I found that Suzette with her Dragon Cell is quite a bit faster than units such as Ultra Tuva or even Milsha when I was trying to figure out some cool videos to show in this 5-star review. Now that being said, of course the twins aren't very hard, but let's be honest, it is fun to go in with full HP, come out with full HP, and just laugh at Carolyn and Justine instead of them laughing at me. I am not weak. Alright, so yeah, that's all done. And of course, if you haven't beaten the twins, they are much older now and should be very manageable with free-to-play strat. You can even use solo Garyu, especially if you have a 250i Garyu, among others. I'm sure you've seen many videos of those out there. Okay, and again, Yukino being our premier and very powerful Pierce Zone setter. Although her Pierce Zone is very conditional, she can't do it when the zone is in effect. It is great nonetheless. And finally, we finish off with Nona, same thing. Now keep in mind that as a lunatic unit, when you activate her Lunatic, it actually converts some of her magic and physical defense into attack power. And so what you really want to do is use a stat badge if you can, because not only are you getting 20 power, you're also getting 20 extra endurance, which will be converted as she activates Lunatic. So keep that in mind when you are choosing which badge to put on her. Now, in our final example, we're going to try to take down this Shadow of Chaos. And we're going to kind of utilize the different strategies we've seen so far in the previous few examples as I'm experimenting with Nona. One thing about Chaos, if you've taken on the Shadow of Chaos, it's highly resistant to a lot of physical attacks, and you really don't do a lot of damage unless you can punch through, its kind of guard. And one thing is, it is not resisting any sort of shade or crystal or thunder attacks, and so you can use units that possess those abilities instead of the traditional 4 elements that were a lot difficult back in the day. At this point, this one does have 3 HP stoppers. It's not a 2-turn clear, it is a 3-turn clear, but here, the point is we're demonstrating how she can really work her magic with other units to kind of help punch through HP stoppers. And if you really want to vary it, you can either carry an offensive or a defensive ability. You can remember you can't stack the abilities. However, the nice end of turn attack not only does a ton of damage. Keep in mind that since it is still a Pierce attack, it does charge the AF bar if you're in Pierce Zone, which is very nice. Her counter attack, on the other hand, does not charge the AF bar no matter how many times you counter, and that's very similar to units such as Manifested Azami, among others. You'll note that I do feature Pizzica in most of these fights because Pizzica does boost a lot of Pierce teams. She herself doesn't really do a lot of damage, but I mean, we're trying to really bring out the most damage we can in Nona. I'm sure there are better setups out there, but let's be honest, it's just an intro video to Nona to see what you can do with her. Alright, so in conclusion, I think Nona is quite a good free unit. She has some offensive and defensive capabilities, and the fact that she has a Shade Lunatic Pierce attack makes her quite unique in that sense. I'm sure we'll see more strategies featuring her, and she'll be used quite extensively in the future. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.